Hey, it's Anders at the Bakery Steel Test Kitchen. We're gonna make our 72-hour dough. It's real simple, real easy. All it requires is for you to prepare in advance. So if pizza night is Friday night, we begin the process on Tuesday. And this is really important to say too, if you don't have 3 days to ferment your dough, 24 hours is still gonna be a really good dough. 48 hours, even better. 72, legendary. But just keep that in mind. So if your pizza night is Friday night, start your dough on even Thursday, and it'll be much better than anything you can purchase at the store. All right, let's do this. Let's look at our ingredients. We have flour. This is a bread flour. It's organic. We highly recommend organic. Bread flour is typically higher in protein content, but feel free to explore and try some all-purpose. Mix and match your doughs. This is 500 grams of bread flour, okay? Our salt is a sea salt, 16 grams. Water, filtered water, room temperature. And of course, our active dry yeast, which is just 1 gram. Next, I'll just take my yeast and I'll dump it into the flour. I'm just gonna give it a whisk. Okay, that's it. The water I'm gonna do is dump my salt into it. This is my first step, and I'm gonna let the salt dissolve. Just give it a little shake. And let this dissolve for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Then I'll give that salt one more little stir. The salt is dissolved out of the water for the most part. Just pour it into my flour. And I like to grab something to kind of mix this, to slowly incorporate all the ingredients before I pour it out onto the desk, I said desk, but it's really my counter. And I literally just take it out. And now what I'm gonna do is, for the next, put a timer on yourself for like maybe 2 or 3 minutes. I'm gonna lightly just press this out, just like this. And all I'm doing is I'm taking those flours, the dry clumps, and pressing them out so there aren't any, right? And I'm making one big mass of dough. As you can see, it's starting to come together a little bit. I've done this probably 400 or 500 times this year alone, so I know what's gonna happen. Eventually, it's gonna turn, after about 2 minutes, it's gonna start to get really wet and really sticky, and that is the tell that I know that I've kind of done its job. The water's gonna now incorporate beautifully. I've got one big mass of dough, just like that. Scrape your hands off. You can see that. It's gorgeous. I'm gonna place this right back into the bowl. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna cover this for the next 3 days. The first day I'm gonna put on the counter, maybe for the next 8 to 10 hours, I'm gonna leave on the counter, and then I'm gonna push this whole bulk of dough into the fridge for 2 more days, make our dough balls, and then we're gonna make some pizza. All right, so it's been like 2 days, 2 more days. This dough has been sitting in the fridge. You can see still in the same container. What I'm gonna do now is you can actually open this up. You can smell that aroma, the alcohol. It is just bursting with flavor. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna stretch it out. Not stretch it, we're gonna actually make dough balls first, and then we'll stretch it out and make our pizza. So we're gonna take this dough out of the container, and we're gonna measure up some, I like to measure it up. This will make 3 or 4 dough balls, depending on the size, but I like to make them around 240 grams. That seems like be a good sweet spot for a nice 10 or 12-inch pizza. Once you get the size down, we make our dough balls, and this is a really, really important step. And the dough's really wet and really sticky. So remember to be generous with the flour down, okay? And I cover kind of both sides, and then I'm gonna pick it up just like this, and I like it cold because the dough's cold, it's gonna not be as sticky, so keep that in mind. Once I flour it up, I'm just gonna fold it in half and then turn. I'm gonna lightly press my fingers into it, almost like a heart, okay? And then close it again. And I follow the same sequence, probably about 10 or 20 times. And each time I do this, I'm pushing a little bit of the air out, and I'm making a tighter and tighter skin. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm trapping all those gluten strands right inside this dough, inside a dough ball. And if it gets sticky at all, just remember, flour your hands up. Be generous, it's okay. And close. And I do this sequence maybe 15 or 20 times. And you can see here, it's really got a smooth side, like a baby's butt almost. Place that into my palm, and now I can be aggressive and close that up, okay? And you can see I've got a beautiful dough ball. I'm gonna do that again for you guys, just so you can see how I did it. Again, about 240, 250 grams. Flour your hands up nicely. Coat both sides just so this dough won't be sticky. Just take it in your hands and fold it in half. And then turn your hands sideways, grab each side and lightly press in, and then close. Follow that same sequence about 15 or 20 times. Each time you do this, you have a smooth side and you have the seam side. We're making a ball. I'm knocking some of the air out. And close. Press and close. Press and close. And now I take the smooth side, put it into my palm, and I can be aggressive here and pinch it closed. And I've got a dough ball. So now the last step we're gonna do is take these balls, and we're gonna make pizza tonight, okay? So we don't need this dough, because we just massaged all those glutens and we trapped the gases inside those gluten strands, it needs to relax. The dough's still cold, so we're gonna cover it up and let it sit on the counter for 3 or 4 hours airtight. And then what's gonna happen is the dough at that point, the glutens will be relaxed and we can stretch it out and make our pizza. And that's our 72-hour dough.